Yo, what is up guys? It's me, Zachary. Hope y'all having a fantastic day, but yo, we got some pretty tragic things to talk about that's going on in the NBA. Like yesterday, I don't know what it was, but it's just something is clearly wrong and something's going on in the NBA because this was just a terrible, terrible day. Alright, so it starts off with the Portland Trailblazers versus the Brooklyn Nets. So far to start this game, it seems like everything's going normal. It's actually a really freaking good game. You got Damian Lillard and D'Angelo Russell absolutely going at it. Like everything is going perfectly fine until this.
Barkley lays it up and off. Nurkic tip, no. And a loose ball foul against Brooklyn. But Jusuf Nurkic may be hurt. Nurkic is down, and it is not good. They are calling for the stretcher, and this is not good.
That is the most cringy injury that you will ever see. When you see that, you have no choice but to look away. First and foremost, shout out and prayers up to Jusuf Nurkic. Like, that's absolutely devastating to suffer an injury of that magnitude when he was having such a great game, such a great season. The Blazers about to be in the playoffs, of course, once again, and then we get probably the most catastrophic injury of this entire season. Like, you take that and compare it to other injuries of the past, it looked even worse than the Gordon Hayward injury and looked way too similar to the one that Paul George suffered a couple of years back. So this is just completely tragic, absolutely devastating for the Portland Trailblazers, for their fans, and especially for Jusuf Nurkic. So sending nothing but the best positivity and wishes Jusuf Nurkic way, hoping him a healthy and full recovery whenever he does make his way back to the basketball court. I'm kind of convinced at this point that the OKC Thunder must want all the smoke in the first round with the Golden State Warriors. That's the only explanation for how bad they've been playing over the past couple of weeks. Yo, they've been losing games left and right. Another team loses, bumps the Thunder up in the standings because that's how close the Western Conference standings are right now. One team can lose and you can go from being the A seed to the 5th seed without even having to play a game. That happened to the Thunder a couple of days ago where they were bumped back up to like the 5th or 6th seed in the Western Conference. But with this loss to the Memphis Grizzlies, the Thunder are back in the A seed. And the reason they lost was because of freaking Bruno Caboclo, aka the guy who's known as being 2 years away from being 2 years away from being the next Giannis, except he's been 2 years away from being 2 years away for like the past 4 or 5 years. But the man had the best game of his career last night. 24 points and 11 rebounds for the Brazilian Giannis Antetokounmpo. And that's part of the reason why the OKC Thunder lost. They got balled on by Bruno Caboclo. But in reality, that's actually great for Bruno. Glad to see him finally having some sort of consistency in an NBA rotation. He's getting minutes with the Memphis Grizzlies because, you know, they're the Memphis Grizzlies, and that's great. Every young player, if they're ever going to develop, they need minutes. We can talk about potential, we can talk about all this other stuff, but the best way to learn is from actually going out there and playing in a real game. It's a different experience from overseas, a different experience from G League, different experience from college. So the only way he will ever reach the potential that he might have had at some point, or maybe still has, is to actually play in games. And seeing him drop 24 points and 11 rebounds, well, I'm guessing that gave some faith to the people who still believe that he's 2 years away from being 2 years away from being the next Giannis Antetokounmpo. Just give him till he's 32, he'll get there. This has got to have been the strangest blowout that I have ever seen. Typically when a team loses by 30, there's not much to say, but the Phoenix Suns, when they lose by 30, there's so much to talk about. Like, there's literally so much to talk about that's just so strange about this game. Okay, so we're gonna start with the elephant in the room here. Jusuf Fredette is back in the NBA and he's playing for the Phoenix Suns. For a guy that's all about offense and not about defense, there couldn't be a more perfect situation for Jusuf Fredette, and he showed exactly why the Phoenix Suns decided to give him that contract yesterday. Why the Phoenix Suns decided to keep him on for the rest of the season. As in this game, Jusuf Fredette was freaking amazing. I mean, just listen to the reaction from the crowd whenever he did anything.
I mean, no way, this is going down, Bowler. Listen to the love. There it is. First point
for the Suns.
That's exactly how you know how good he was. Matter of fact, the stats don't even do him justice. 1 of 10 from the field, 6 points, and a minus 25 net overall rating when he was on the court in those 16 minutes. And not only was Jimmer Fredette getting a warm ovation from the crowd and shining when he was on the basketball court, but he also helped out Devin Booker in the best way possible. And that's because of Jimmer Fredette refusing to pass the ball to Devin Booker in the final minutes of this game that Devin Booker didn't reach 60 points. Yeah, Devin Booker scored 59 points in this game. Not only was the Utah Jazz defense trying to stop Devin Booker from reaching 60 because they were triple teaming all night, but his own teammate, Jimmer Fredette, was also trying to stop Devin Booker from reaching 60 because he thought that, you know, jacking up as many shots as possible while he was on the court was much more important. But I guess it doesn't matter. 59 points, 60 points is pretty much the same thing. And once again, it's in a 30-point blowout. You score 59 points in a 30-point blowout. This guy had almost every single point for the Phoenix Suns. The rest of the team combined for 30 some odd points. The next highest scorer was DeAndre Ayton, who scored 9 points. 59 to 9. That was the point differential from the first highest scorer and the second highest scorer for the Phoenix Suns. And for Devin Booker, this has to be beyond discouraging because this will just add to the list of big games that he's had ruined because the Phoenix Suns lost. Scores 59 points in a loss, they lose by 30. No one's really going to remember that 59-point performance years down the line. It's going to be one of the lower ranking 59-point performances of all time in NBA history. And then you remember back in his 70-point game where they lost to the Boston Celtics, it's kind of the same thing. He scored 70 points, but people discredit him because the team lost. The game wasn't really close. Everyone knew the Phoenix Suns were going to lose. So for this to happen to Devin Booker once again, that's beyond tough. I mean, that's just freaking tragic. And lastly for the day, we had probably the most normal thing that happened, even though it still wasn't that normal at all. This yesterday was just a really weird day for the NBA. As nothing crazy happened in the Sixers versus Magic game, except for the fact that the Sixers got blown out by the Orlando Magic, 119 to 98. Like I said, this was the most normal game that happened last night. But at the same time, there was nothing normal about it because the Sixers got blown out by the Orlando Magic. Shout out to Big Vooch, though. He was doing his thing out there with 28 points and 11 rebounds. But that's actually going to do it for everything that we got to talk about today. Yesterday, there wasn't much going on in the NBA, just 4 games. So that's why this video is a bit on the shorter side. Still hope you guys did enjoy it. And if you did, why not go ahead and subscribe to the channel with post notifications turned on so you can stay up to date with everything that goes on in the NBA. Thank you once again for watching, though. You guys already know that you are the real MVPs, but with that being said, until next time, keep getting the buckets, Team SDC, and I'm out of here.